Hello, this is Amarjot Singh, and as you're seeing on the screen, in 3 months, H1B spouses may end up jobless again. If you have been following the news, and especially if you are the spouse of a H1B holder in America, your work permit is coming to an end pretty soon. The Trump administration does not like the spouses of H1B to work because of America First policy. And if you just type this on Google, you will see numerous articles about H1B spouses, how they should not be working. So we will jump on to a news report by PBS and see just a little summary of what the background is and how people are affected. And then we'll come to the main solution, what Canada offers to them, both as an option of express entry as a PR directly. Some of the H1B people are waiting in US for nearly 10 to 13 years for H1B quota through to green card, and in Canada they can get it for about less than 1 year, close to 1 year. And if they are qualified, they can get a job directly and go to something called a global talent stream. But let's first look at the previous news hour item on this visa rule change.
H-1B visas between 2001 and 2015. The program is designed to help employers hire highly skilled foreign workers, but has come under fire. Last year, the president signed an executive order to reform all employment-based visa programs. Part of that crackdown could also strip employment authorization from the spouses of some H-1B holders. The change would mean that nearly 100,000, mainly Indian women, could lose their right to work. Special correspondent Joanne Jennings reports from Silicon Valley, where tech companies rely heavily on these foreign workers. This story is part of our ongoing series about poverty and opportunity in America, Chasing the Dream.
Here we go.
Renuka Sivaran and Murali Raghavan appear to be living the American dream.
And then we had extra PE today.
He works for Oracle as a senior network engineer, and she runs a home daycare business, which is booming.
Said the cow. Want to eat some grass?
2 years ago, the family bought this home so Sivaran could expand her daycare operation. And with the additional income, they can now afford the larger mortgage and extracurricular activities for their 2 sons. Originally from India, Sivaran came to the United States in 2003 as an IT worker, but her visa was tied to a job in Arizona. So when she moved to California to be with her husband, she lost her work permit.
It was really depressing and frustrating, basically. I mean, I have all the skills and there are jobs out there, but I just can't get it. I mean, even if I close my eyes and think about those days, it feels dark, just dead dark.
As the wife of an H-1B visa holder, Sivaran was permitted to legally reside in the U.S., but not to work until she received her green card. Sivaran spent a total of 9 years out of the workforce, so she was elated when the Obama administration created the H-4 EAD visa in 2015. It grants employment authorization for the spouses of H-1B visa holders who are in line for green cards. More than 100,000 spouses applied as of 2017.
That was like light at the end of the tunnel, right? I was so happy to know that finally I can be productive. Finally I can start working.
As of this April, there were more than 600,000 Indian immigrants and their spouses and children waiting for green cards for people from India who make up the vast majority of H-1B workers. That's because each country can only get 7% of all employment-based green cards given out each year.
When people see us, they see these big homes and good salaries and happy families, but there is a lot of stress. I mean, in my daycare, I have so many families that are in very similar situations. They are waiting for their green cards and waiting and waiting and waiting.
Sivaran has been waiting for 7 years.
Waiting and waiting and waiting. I mean, I was told, and I interviewed some H1B people in Silicon Valley. When they talk about waiting and waiting and waiting, this wait can go all the way from 10 to 13 years on I-140 petition to becoming live, so that they go to the stage where people born in India can get the quota. And as you will see in a statement by one of those U.S. representatives, that all countries have the same quota. So somebody from India who has a large population of people who are working in H1B professions, and even countries like Iceland, which has a very small minuscule population of H1B here, they have the same quota as far as the H1B transition to green card is concerned.
And now she fears she could lose her work authorization yet again.
We believe jobs must be offered to American workers first. Does that make sense?
That's
when
right.
President Trump signed his Buy American, Hire American executive order last year, he vowed to reform all employment-based visa programs. And now his administration is working on a plan to rescind work authorization for some spouses as well.
More than 100 members of Congress sent a bipartisan letter urging the Department of Homeland Security to reconsider. Among them, Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren. Her Silicon Valley district is home to many companies who depend on skilled foreign workers. She says it's a mistake to target their spouses, who will eventually be able to work once they get through the green card backlog.
They're American citizens in waiting. It doesn't serve our country to prevent them from contributing. They're going to be our fellow citizens.
So my main concern around the discussion around the H-4 EAD is, where do you draw the line?
Ron Hira is a professor at Howard University and a scholar at the Economic Policy Institute. He thinks the Trump administration is justified in calling for an end to the H-4 EAD program, which he sees as an effort by the tech industry to expand its foreign workforce.
The reason we're in this situation where there's a mismatch between the H-1B program and the green card program was 1998 and 2000, the tech industry pushed for a huge expansion of the H-1B program. And it was obvious if you're going to increase the H-1B program without increasing the green cards, you're going to create a backlog.
Lofgren offered a bill to address that problem.
The visas are allocated based on the country of birth. And so Iceland, for example, that has a population of 350,000 people, has the same number of visas as India, which has a population of 1.2 billion. There's no reason for allocating visas that are awarded based on skill and education to where you were born. So if we even that out, this whole system will work not perfectly, but a lot better.
If we eliminate the per-country quotas, we'll have replaced our diversity system of immigration with an India First system.
John Miano was a computer scientist for 18 years until he says he started losing job opportunities to foreign workers.
So that's a job that where the employer has specified they're looking for foreign workers.
So he left his IT profession to become a lawyer. Now he's suing the Department of Homeland Security on behalf of laid-off employees at Southern California Edison. He says they join a long list of IT workers at institutions like Disney, UCSF, and Abbott Labs, whom were all replaced by foreign H-1B workers. Miano says his clients now face even more competition from their spouses.
Doesn't make any sense to bring in people to fill so-called jobs where Americans aren't available and then allow the spouses to work with no restrictions at all.
No restrictions at all because H-4 EAD holders can work wherever they want. That's not the case for their H-1B spouses, whose visas are tied to specific employers.
It's totally bad for American workers. It's a sad thing that we're setting one group of labor against another in this job market, but I mean, the reality is we need to think of Americans first when it comes to the American job market.
This is not a zero-sum game. If an H-4 spouse comes here, they're going to contribute to their company that hopefully is going to create more jobs and more openings for everybody. And I think that we're better as a nation when we allow everybody to work and everybody to contribute.
Andy Halatay is a vice president at the Information Technology Industry Council. He lobbies on behalf of big tech companies including Facebook, Amazon, and Microsoft. In a letter to the Department of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, tech trade groups, including ITIC, argued that revoking work permits for spouses could jeopardize American tech's competitive edge.
This would really be a step backwards for us, being able to attract top-tier talent to the United States. 30 other industrialized countries, including Canada or Australia, all allow for spousal authorization. So this would be a major disincentive if we were telling high-skilled immigrants that they could come here, but their spouses would have to put their careers on hold when coming to the United States, and they might look elsewhere.
One thing which...
Yeah, he's right in saying, especially Canada, if somebody has a work permit, just similar to H1B, in US, if he has a work permit in Canada, their spouses are automatically given a right to work, which is very different from what is being proposed in US. So he's right Canada has that option. I bet Australia also has an option, but US is withdrawing from that option.
It was like the deciding factor was that will I be able to work here?
Priya Yadav and her husband Piyush Mittal both have jobs in Silicon Valley. He works at Amazon and she works at Comcast. When the couple married in India in 2017, Yadav was hesitant to move to the United States because she had a good career.
He told me that there's something called H4EAD on which you can definitely work. So then I was like quite assured that, okay, fine, then there's no problem if I move here.
For now, she's relishing the daily routine of getting ready for work. But the uncertainty over the H4EAD program is stressful, so stressful that Yadav and Mittal have applied for permanent residency in Canada.
How long?
So he's applied for PR in Canada, just like many H1 people, applicants who are in limbo are.
How long did that take from when you submitted the original application to the invitation?
Altogether, the complete process will take around like 8 months.
If this is rescinded or this is probably taken away, we'll move to somewhere else. We'll move to Canada. Because we know we are skilled people and there's demand for skilled people, I believe, everywhere.
There are people in this country who believe that people like you and your husband are taking jobs away from Americans. Mm-hmm. What do you say to people watching this who may think that?
Jobs are out there. Companies are not, like putting them in their pockets and, only shoveling them out to a few people. They're out there. And the hiring system, it's pretty rigorous.
Ron Hira says the amount of jobs is not the issue.
The problem is the rules are set up so that you can bring in H1B workers without ever looking for an American worker. You can bring in H1B workers and replace Americans, all legally.
Andy Halliday insists his member companies don't abuse the system, but use it to fill a gap in skilled workers.
I can speak to how the majority of our companies use the H1B program. It's a small percentage of their workforce, and they're complementing the existing U.S. workforce to bring new products to market. If the negative perception around the H1B program hurts our ability to do that, then we would love to see Congress work on broader immigration reform that addresses those problems.
Back in Fremont, California, Renuka Sivaran and her family are hoping that any decisions made in Washington will allow them to continue living and working in a community where they've built their lives.
I am sitting here in one of the most developed countries in the world, fighting for right to work. For me, this is home. For my kids, this is home. They're American citizens. They've been going to school here. They have their friends here. So why should I be forced to uproot myself and my family and the life that I've built for the last 15 years and go somewhere else?
That's right. So you saw, how people are tormented by this impending visa rule change if it comes along. I think there is a open public opinion threshold or window that I think they're trying to collect some feedback and opinion on whether it should be implemented or not. But I think this is a proposal at present. If it happens, close to 100,000 plus spouses of H1B will lose their right, and I think this will cause them to rethink their own future and the family's future if they want to stay in US. As they mentioned, one of them said that they had already applied for Canada. So what they are talking about is called express entry, and as you know, express entry is on Government of Canada website, so you can check out the immigrate through express entry. It's very clear. You type express entry in Google and the Government of Canada website, go and take a look. But I'm here to tell you about something else as an alternative to express entry. If you have an employer in Canada, they can also hire you, the tech worker, through a program called Global Talent Stream, as you see on the screen. Global Talent Stream, let's read a few lines about Talent Stream and I'll show you some relevant portions. I'm reading it right here. The Global Talent Stream offers timely, responsive, and predictable client-focused service to help you access global talent to expand your workforce here in Canada. This 2-year pilot falls under TFW, launch on June 2017. It is designed for innovative firms like high-tech firms that are referred to ESDC by a designated referral partner, which is like tech associations that need some unique and specialized foreign talents in order to scale up and grow. So this does not require LMIA. By the way, if somebody was wondering if you require LMIA through, no, you don't require LMIA as long as you are a in the occupation list, and your job has been offered through a company that has gone to a referral partner. We will see what that is. So you will not need an LMIA. So let me take a look at the referral list opening up. So these are the partners for referral to there are different categories of the talent, based on what job positions. So there are many of them. So for example, if you are in, let's say in Alberta, in my province, so it has to be referred by Government of Alberta, Alberta Labor Department, and so forth. So there are many things that you can go and take a look yourself. Global talent. What is the occupation list? We were looking at the occupation list here. So this occupation list is right here, for example, and many positions are they're all high-tech in nature: engineering manager, architecture, computer, mathematician, information system, database software, and it has a prevailing wage to it, close to $80,000 plus. Like for example, this one technician, 78,000 or so. So if it's a high tech and it has meets the minimum salary requirements, so you will be able to get the work permit for you and your wife and with the spouse and children. Of course, everybody can come together close to. There's a 2-week processing time. All right, so this is something that is very fast. Once you come here, you have a work permit, you will be able to, depending on the job position, add at least 50 more points to your express entry, which you already know what that express entry is. Express entry, the point system. So you can add those points and it will accelerate your application towards PR in Canada. Once you get a PR in Canada, you physically stay here for 3 years. You will be able to apply for Canadian passport once you are a Canadian citizen, and then you will be able to work even in US if that is your ultimate goal, on something called NAFTA visa, until unless even Mr. Trump takes out the NAFTA visa at that point of time. But as of today, NAFTA visa, if you are an engineer in the NAFTA occupations, you will be able to work for any employer that offers you a job without even labor certification, LCA, or any of those labor certifying requirements. So that is an advantage. But of course, Canada is Canada. You're welcome to stay here, work here if you can. Many people have told me, H1B engineers, there are not enough opportunities in technology in Canada as they are in Silicon Valley. Acknowledge, yes, that is true, but at least, hey, you have a permanent residence instead of waiting for 13 years or 12 years for green card, which may never come at all. So it is an option. So let me just summarize. We are talking about Indian worker spouses, the H4 visa dependent. Some people who are qualified, they can apply for a job here and apply through Global Talent Stream in Canada. This is the stream, or you can apply directly as under express entry. So that's all I had to say. So if you have any comments, please, your comments are welcome. And if you have any questions, you always have my contact information on the introduction of this video. Thank you very much for your time.